Better stay on your toes. I leave you froze like the winds of snow. Better stay on your toes. I leave you froze like the winds of snow. I'm way too cold. I'm way too cold. I said I can't be touched when I'm in my zone. I'm like El Capone. I'm way too cold. I'm way too cold. You are now listening to a copy of Protection. You are now listening to a copy of Protection.
What it do, TV land? What it do? What it do, man? What it do is functional. Yes, sir. What it do, man? It's your favorite host in the building, CEO Nino Cappucino, aka Bonnie Hunter BJ, the Breezan, man. And what I'm doing right now, I'm just giving y'all a little current update, man. I'm lounging, still healing, man, trying to go through my healing process. My ribs are still swollen. Well, actually, the swelling is going down, but they more or less bruised, man, because it's like I really feel it at nighttime more at nighttime, man. The pain kicks in at night when I'm trying to sleep. But anyway, man, I'm here studying right now, and I'm going over a survey, man, land surveyor. For those out there that know what a land surveyor is, they comes in and they do your land measurements and all your boundaries, so that you won't have any type of conflict with any other landowners who own land or property around your surrounding land. So I'm studying my surveyor and land measurements and boundaries right now, because first thing Monday, I'm gonna go hire me a land surveyor to come out and do the survey on my land again, even though it was done, so that it can be added. Because you needed to be done up front to be added to your deeds and to your paperwork. What it do, Derek Mallory, Mr. Mallory in the building. I see you, Mr. Mallory. Yes, sir. I see you, Twin City in the building as always, man. Hold that chat box down for me for a minute. I'm only gonna be here about 15 minutes, D. Hold that chat box down for me, King. Yeah. Make sure they push them like, share, subscribe button, man. Let's go.
You are now listening to a copy of Protection.
conflict with improvements. Now, one of the major conflicts, what they're locating on each of the corner 91 square feet, and you travel, talk later on how that, give a little description of what's going to answer those questions. A boundary survey, as you can see here, shows the boundary of the parcel that you've purchased. And that, in this example, is shown by the yellow line. And that is the boundary, and that is what you're purchasing. This tells you the area, the location, and some of the things. Again, the boundary is being shown by the yellow line, and this depicts a little bit of what's happening. I'm going to come here and scale in a little bit, and then I'll be able to pan and give a little description of what's going on. Before I do that, I'd like to just come over here, and this shows a vicinity map is what this is called. Of course, it shows you the property in relationship to a variety of roads, Higbee Road, South Bay Road, etc. But this is a topography map, and this we'll talk on a later segment. But as you can see, the property drops from Higbee Road into South Bay, part of the Big Moose Lake. This ground, of course, being that it's very long and large, is not going to be a real problem. But if it was a small lot and it dropped that quickly, of course, we'll talk later on how that could be costly in placing a home in that type of a scale. But coming back here, I just want to give some highlights on a boundary survey. As you've noticed and as we've talked about, the yellow lines represent the boundary. The bearings and the distances represent what you can anticipate. This line here, or this point here, they found a 2-inch angle iron, and you travel 112 feet, or 100.12 feet here to a second angle iron, and you'd be able to pull a tape and get very close to that distance. Again, you can visibly see what's on these corners, and that would be one of the questions in addition that I would ask is, are there corners placed on each of the areas so you can visibly see your property before you purchase? You can see here that this ground is 3.156 acres, so it's a fairly large piece. It tells us who it is owned by, located, in the county recorder at a different location where you can get that material. Be aware that 1 acre equals 43,560 square feet. As you can see here, the area is 137,491 square feet. Take that number, divide it by 43,560, you get your acreage. Going a little further up, you can see that there's the home, it has a deck, and there's no problem particularly with the structure in regards to the boundary. We have plenty of room here, 42 feet, 27, 23 here. A home next door is fairly close, a one-story framed home, but it does not encroach and does not have or show any problems on the property that we have purchased. You can see here is a gravel driveway. Also, you can see that this road, South Bay Road, goes through your property, and that would be a right-of-way, as it's depicted here, of 50 feet that goes through your property that you would not be able to shut off. That would be part
R.O.E.
of your title report, part of your exceptions in your title report, that road is there and will be permitted to stay. It tells you what they're locating on each of the corners, as well as, of course, it ties back into Higbee Road, where it gives you your POB, which is the point of beginning. One note here, I find this very interesting, is, of course, this is a north arrow, so north, it shows you which way north is. That north that they have chosen to use on this plat is basically an assumed bearing they're showing it an astronomical north from solar observations, and then they give you a 14 bearing difference to magnetic north. That if you were out, it's very important to most people, but for surveyors and engineers, that is needed to at least be aware of. Here it gives you some additional notes about the property and whatnot. Again, this is just an example of a
Deb, what's up, Deb?
Again, answering the question,
What it do?
what do boundary surveys show you? We've kind of gone through a few of those things. It would show any overlaps and the underlaps in your deeds, as well as it would show any conflicts with improvements. Now, one of the major conflicts that a survey does disclose is the fence lines versus the deed lines. Let me give an example of that. The fence line is the actual improvements, a boundary that people accept or feel that that's their property, and the deed line is this line depicted in the yellow, which describes this line that people accept is the actual improvements, a boundary that versus the deed lines. Let me give an example of that. The fence line is the actual improvements, a boundary that people accept or feel that that's their property, and the deed line is this line depicted in the yellow, which describes your property. That's one of the most common differences that we have found in surveying, that those two may be a little different, but a survey would depict that, and you would know what that is before you purchase the ground, if a survey has been completed. Now, if a survey has not been completed, a question that tells you that has been certified.
Problems exemplary of real life. The problems will require a synthesis of research, evidence, knowledge, and principles and decisions, which, if they were made in
whether the project is measuring the depth needed for a skyscraper's foundation or mapping backyard boundaries, a surveyor steps in to get the lay of the land. Surveyors use sophisticated technology to take precise measurements of the Earth's surface for maps and construction projects. They prevent or help to resolve boundary disputes for both home and business owners by documenting legal property lines and helping determine the exact locations of real estate and building projects. During construction, surveyors determine the precise location of roads or buildings and proper depth for building foundations. They conduct research on land records and titles to show changes to a property line and report on restrictions such as the type and size of structures that may be built on a property. Most surveyors work for surveying or engineering companies. Some work in construction or for government offices. Although surveyors spend time in offices, field work is essential and often involves standing for extended periods and walking long distances, sometimes hauling heavy equipment in all kinds of weather. Most work full-time. Surveyors typically need a bachelor's degree in surveying or a related field. A license is needed to certify legal documents and provide surveying services to the public. In addition to passing the licensure exams, surveyors generally need several years' experience working under a licensed surveyor to obtain a license.
Good info, good info.
We use all kinds of measuring tools in our everyday lives. Rulers, protractors, squares, and tape measures, etc. These work fine for small and medium-sized projects, but what if we need to lay out something big, like a road, bridge, dam, or pipeline? Hey, I'm Grady, and this is Practical Engineering. On today's episode, we're talking about one of the civil engineer's most important companions.
What's going on? Why isn't it available?
I want to show you how Dropbox works because it's probably different than you think. We sync your files and protect them with advanced security, but there's so much more your team can do. Dropbox is now where you share files.
I'll show you an encroachment that we found by marking the corners. So the first thing is this record of survey. I want you to actually look at this, and this we got from the county recorder's office. And during the negotiation with the seller, they had refused to mark the property corners. So before we said yes, what we did was we went down to the county recorder, and we got this document to check for a record of survey to see when this thing had been surveyed and if these corners have been marked. And we found that, yes, they had been, and they were actually within the last 4 years. And these pins here, you can see these are marked on these corners. These are found pins that already had been marked. And then these black ones over here are actually ones that were set. They found some pins, but they were in the wrong spot, so they set new pins, and then they recorded this record of survey. And now this is on file. It actually shows where these were located and where the new ones are located. And you can see by a legend over here what they are. So these are 1/2 inch by 24 inch rebar that was set.
See how important all these things are so important, man. Now, fortunate for myself, my documents is all intact. I've already had a survey on my land before I purchased the land, but I'm gonna go do one myself. So I'm hiring one myself, even though I got the document records from the county of San Bernardino showing that land had a survey on it. Plus, I just showed you guys a video tutorial last week where me and my agent went out there and we checked out the markers. Those were the big old long poles that you see me looking at with the orange flags flying off of them. Those were the land markers. It shows how much land in width and length that you own as far as your acreage. So this is what I'm studying right here, right now, TV land. Doing my due diligence and studying, man, as always, man. Stand on top of my stuff, man. You feel me? Some of y'all ask me, how's my healing, man? I'm still going through my healing process. It's more or less bruised now, man. The swelling that went down. It's more bruised, and I really feel it at night mostly when I go to sleep or I try to lay down on this particular side where the injury happened. So Other than that, it's gonna take some time, man. It's gonna take some time for this to really heal. Cause I really banged myself up. What I am gonna do is follow up next week and go back to the doctor to make sure I don't got nothing eternally going on the inside, man. You feel me? So I'm definitely gonna go back to the hospital next week and do a follow up, man, on my conditions, man. And I appreciate everybody out there for asking. David, I appreciate you asking, David. Appreciate you, sir. Appreciate everybody out there that tapped in and tuned in, but that's what you're looking at right now. I'm studying my survey for my land measurements and markers and boundaries, man, so that I don't have any future or present problems with other owners or my next door neighbors, although it's not any problems right now. Alright? You tuned in, you tapped in to your favorite show, Rules of Engagement, 2414. Go push that like, share, subscribe button. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend, man. Tap that button. Y'all push that like, share, subscribe button right now since y'all in that chat box, man. Let's go.
And that they just did here. And then you can also see these other ones with half-inch rebar found. So there's a key here. So this is really important. So before you actually agree to not have your property corners marked if you're buying land, or even if you're buying a home that has a lot of land, make sure you call the county and seek that record of survey on file, because getting a record of survey is more costly than actually having the surveyor come out and maybe mark these pins for you or locate them if they aren't there. So you want to make sure that this record of survey is done. Prior to agreeing to not having the corners marked by the seller if they're refusing to do that. So very, very important to do. So I want to show you how that fits. So the first thing we did was there's actually an app that we use for hunting that we use and for if you're outdoors, it's called Onyx Maps. That's one way to do it. Well, County GIS and mapping, see property lines, and it'll show you, where this boundary is out here that we're looking at. This line runs back here. Okay, so we pulled that up, and it wasn't actually perfectly accurate, right? So this thing was actually 10 to 15 feet. Probably over here it showed the line, and now so if you look at the aerial map, it's not there. So we have just a simple little metal detector. You can see here, and we got the metal detector going, and we're able to locate the pin over here, and it's got a, once you actually come over here, we're going to show you what this looks like. So we're going to come in here, and you can see that this is the rebar that they were talking about, the half-inch rebar, and it's got a cap on it, and this was marked. It actually will have the surveyor's name on it, and then the number marked, for the location marking here. So you can't actually see this. It's kind of just got dirt filled with dirt. But what they do is they put this cap on the rebar here, and so it identifies the location, and then they'll flag it here. And then the cool thing is that they will actually put this wire on here, and still normally have a flag on it as well. There's a lot of farming here that happens in Idaho, so you end up having this here. You can actually pick this up your metal detector. And if it's above the ground, so if this gets tilled up when they're farming, when they're disking, this will still be here, and you can locate that. So it's kind of nice to have that. So then we just took a little short flag here, or a stake, and then flag it so you can see it. This was a distant stake here. We just put this in a little bit taller so we can see down there and sight that in a little bit better. So, but this is we found it with the metal detector, and then from there we have a starting point. So then what we did was you can look at this record of survey.
Inspire before I expire, man. Inspire before I expire. Hey, man, I appreciate you. Hey, man, I'm glad I just seen you before I get ready to tap out. I got for the buzz on out of here. I finished studying, man. I'm gonna get back to my studying, y'all. Just doing all my due diligence, man, because I'm getting ready. Like I said, I'm trying, from the way everything looks right now, my goal is set to go into construction in the next 45, 50 days, as soon as I get through my closing of escrow. As soon as that's complete, send my surveyor and them crew back out there, have them mark off the land, do all my boundaries, because I'm getting ready to lay my concrete foundation. So the next thing I'm going to do after the survey, I'm going to lay my fencing. So I should be in construction for the next 2 months, laying my fencing, Once I do my fence around the whole entire property, then we're gonna go in and do the cleanup. That cleanup, my Mexican buddy partner that I'm hiring, he told me it may take him about a week. It may take us a week to clean the whole entire acreage up, to clean everything up the way I want it, because I want to be able to look clear across my land from length to width. I want to see all fucking clear across the land of my acres, man. And then from there, I'm going to holler to, I've already hired, but not hired, excuse me, not hired yet, but I've already hollered at 3 different engineer companies and 3 different engineering and construction companies. So now it narrowed down to I got to pick who I want to go with and who's going to give me the best architect. And then I'm my next stage after that, my third stage is coming in, doing the wiring, the plumbing for the ground, and all concrete. Wherever I want slabs of concrete get on my land, we finna do all the concrete construction first. So it's the fencing, cleanup, concrete. Those are the first 3 important things I'm gonna do first. Fencing, cleanup, and then concrete. You know what I mean? And so on and so on, man. But I appreciate everybody that's tapping in, buzzing in, man. I'm still a little bit, I'm down, man. This healing gonna take a while. And my lung as well, like I said, I had bruised my lung too because of that rib, man. So I gotta really take my time with this. I ain't been in the gym hitting it in the last 2 weeks since the incident. So of course I got home gyms. I got gyms here at home and stuff like that. So I still get in every now and then and do a little something. But anywho, you tapped in, you buzzed into your favorite host, man, CEO Nino Cappucino, AK Bunny Hunter BJ, the Breezan, man. You feel me? GMIG, is that GMIG? I appreciate you, man. You tapped in, you buzzed into your favorite show, Rules of Engagement, man. Go tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. It's going down, man. Right here, right now. Studying, man. Due diligence. You feel me? To all my people out there, it's the weekend, man. Please don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive, my peoples. Don't drink and drive. The mighty W. We are taught to freaking survive, man. Ha! Yeah. Dario Lewis, what it do, man?